Assalamualaikum. My name is ELLYANNA binti Muhammad IQBAL. My metric number is 052X55. Criteria for selecting potential customer. Number 1. Purpose. Speculative and other illegitimate purposes are not permitted when the source of repayment is the profit from the future sales of an asset. The loan is considered speculative. This is especially true when a customer stocks up on goods in expectation of a price increase. Banks should not lend for purposes they know are illegal, such as funding smuggling operations. Number 2. Amount. The amount necessary is determined by the loan's purpose and the borrower's personal resources. If the amount requested is insufficient for the borrower's stated purpose, consideration should be given. Number 3. Duration. Banks are considered short-term lenders since they offer a variable overdraft or a loan account with a set payback schedule. Banks will find themselves in an illiquid situation if they lend long, potentially jeopardizing their business. Furthermore, banks are now willing to lend for considerably longer period of time, but the length of time must be appropriate for the purpose and the source of repayment. Number 4. Repayment and capacity. The lender needs to know that your company can pay back the loan. The company should have enough cash flow to comfortably maintain its business expenditure and debts while also paying enough to cover the principal, personal expense, and debts. No loan should be made until the source of repayment is relatively certain, regardless of how honest the borrower is. The most preferred source of loan repayment is future positive cash flow from operations. Number 5. Security and capital. Lending involves risk, and the bank can mitigate the risk of an insolvency by taking security, obtaining control over assets that can be converted into cash to repay the loan. If the borrower defaults, is referred to as taking security. On the other hand of capital, the lender will inquire borrower's personal investment in the company. Contributing personal assets not only reduce the risk of default, but it also shows that borrowers are prepared to take a personal risk for the sake of their firm. Number 6. Character. Lenders want to know that the borrower and guarantors are trustworthy. In addition, the lender must be certified that the application has the necessary background, education, industry knowledge, and the expertise to run the firm successfully. A lender will look at the personal credit of all borrowers and guarantors involved in the loan because past is the best predictor of the future. Number 7. Condition. Working with a lender who understands the Workers' Compensation Board (WCB) industry is vital, since the lender will need to understand the stats of the firm, the industry, and the economy. The lender will want to know whether the existing business conditions will continue, improve, or worsen. Number 8. Collateral. A lender will look at the worth of the company assets as well as the guarantor's personal assets as a backup source of repayment. Although collateral is crucial, its importance varies depending on the type of loan. A lender can explain the different type of collateral required for your loan.
Next, we will move forward on the description of the Aitab's product. Al-Ijarah Tuma Al-Bay, Aitab. Aitab is an Islamic hire purchase financing that adheres to the Sharia principle, and it is placed under the Hire Purchase Act of 1967. Aitab is a type of financing that based on the leasing, which is Ijarah, and sale, which is Al-Bay principles. So therefore, Aitab is based on the leasing and sales principles. Al-Ijarah refers to a lease agreement in which the customer leases the asset from the bank under the terms of the leasing contract for an agreed upon rental payment over a set period of time. Then, when the lease period expires, the customer then enters into a sale contract, which is Al-Bay. The customer enters this contract to purchase the asset from the bank at an agreed price. During the term of the lease, the customer must pay an agreed upon rental payment over a set period of time. Only then the customer has the option to purchase the asset from the bank at an agreed price at the end of the leasing period. So, the product of Aitab that we have chose is vehicle. So basically, the vehicle is a Proton X50. Proton X50 is a SUV that have 5 seats. The engine type is 1.5 TD, 1.5 liters engine. The market price of this Proton X50 is at 103,300 ringgit. The year of the manufacturing of this Proton X50 is on 2020. Basically, the terms of financing that provided by the Maybank Islamic is actually depends on the types of vehicle. From the table, we can see that new passenger cars such as 4WD, MPV, SUV and together with the unregistered reconditioned aka imported vehicle are both have the margin of finance as much as maximum 90% of the seller's invoice, and the financing period is maximum up to 108 months, which equal to 9 years. However, for the second-hand passenger cars, 4WD, SUV and MPV have margin of finance only maximum 85% of the seller's invoice, and the financing period is the same, which is maximum up to 9 years.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is NURMIZA binti MIZANY, alias Abdul Malik. My matrix number is 052900. Today, I would like to describe the procedure for the potential customer to apply the loan. Both client and the bank engage into a leasing contract in the first stage, in which the client leases the asset from the bank for the certain length of the time and a fixed rental payment. The sale contract will be completed in the second step, transferring ownership of the asset to the lessee. The transaction method for the Aitab is: first, the consumer is informed of the assets he intends to buy and get all the information they need about the specific asset obtained from the dealer. Second step is the consumer applies to the bank for an Islamic hire purchase facility. At this point, the consumer asks the bank to buy the asset and make a pledge to buy it after the ijarah term ends. Third step is based on the customer's request. The bank purchases the asset from the dealer. Fourth is by the completing an ijarah contract. The bank leases the asset to the customer. At this point, the asset's owner and the benefit are passes to the client for a certain amount of time at the predetermined rental fee. 5. By negotiating a sale contract after the ijarah contract expired, the bank transfers the title of the leased asset to the client at the minimal sum. Okay, next is document required to submit in application. There's two applicants, which is under individual or under partnership. And this application divided into two, which is new vehicle and used vehicle. For new vehicle, the document that you need to submit is NRIC, second the driver license, third is passport and employment or contract letter for foreigner. Fourth is latest 2-month salary slip or voucher. Fifth is latest EA or EPF statement or employment confirmation or 3-month bank or passbook statement ASB or ASN. 7 is spouse detail, NRIC and latest 2-month proof of income if to support household income. And the last one is the local guarantor is compulsory for foreigner, and guarantor need to submit document as per item 1, 4 and 5. And then for the used vehicle, you need to submit the same document as a new vehicle, but you need to add on a few more you need to add on 2 more documents, which is VOC, vehicle ownership certificate, and second one is pro forma invoice.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is IZATUL HIDAYATI binti Abdul Latif. My matric number is 052861. So what are the advantages and disadvantages of this product, which is Aitab? The first advantages is Aitab financing enables Muslims to perform their financial transactions according to the principle of Sharia and in line with their religious beliefs. Second one, late payment charge is slightly lower than conventional hire purchase. And the third one is, Aitab is sourced from halal funds. And what are the disadvantages of Aitab? The first disadvantage is it is under ijarah contract. The ownership lies with the bank. Therefore, the risk, responsibility, and liability cannot be placed on the hirer or customer for loss caused for factors beyond his control. The second one is, Aitab implementation is said to be lacking in Sharia framework, ownership, and maintenance. And the third point is, the bank must own the asset before rent it out, because it shows the rights and liabilities of the parties involved in the hire purchase contract. We go to the next advantages of Aitab. It is insured by takaful and bank charge fixed profit on the cost of financings, so it doesn't change. It stays fixed. So what is the next disadvantages of Aitab? It is the customer's attitude towards the product. It is tough to sell them the product because customers are not fully aware of the situation. They lack of knowledge of Aitab. And the last one is, it involves more documentation. In other words, additional akad agreement.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Raja Nur IZZATI binti Raja BUKHARI and my matrix number is 052890. CTOS and CCRIS. CTOS is referred to the Creative Type of Service, and CTOS is a private company that regulated under the Credit Reporting Agency Act 2010. CTOS will collect and provide the credit history or credit report of the not only for the individual but also for the businesses. And CTOS will show their credit history for the past 24 months. So now, what are the importance of the CTOS and CCRIS report? Number one, it is being used by the bank to check the creditworthiness of a borrower. CTOS and CCRIS is important for a bank because it have been used as the determining factor for a loan or a credit card application. The report should give the bank confidence that the borrower are financially savvy and well managed. So, if a borrower is a person who pay back the debts dutifully without any problems, then the bank also can approve the application without any problem. However, if the bank see any missed payment on the credit history or credit report, then it is highly likely that the bank will not approve the application. Number two, it will show the credit pattern of the borrower. CTOS and CCRIS will show the credit payment ability and all the financial commitments of the borrower. If the borrower took a loan, he or she should pay the debts without any miss, as any default payments will be show up on the credit reports. Then, it can affect the chances of the borrower when he or she wants to apply for a loan or a credit card. So, it is important for the borrower to know first whether the credit report is updated and it is in a good condition. Number three, a lower interest rate. The credit score will play a role in determining the interest rate because there are more banks now that are looking into charging the interest rate based on the credit score. So, a borrower that have a high credit score will get the benefits or the chances to get a lower interest rate. Number four, getting higher credit limits. A bank or a lender will trust the customer that have a good and healthy credit score. So, it will give the borrower the chance to get a higher credit limits. Because the bank will look at the income and the credit score before approving the credit application. A healthy credit score will show the borrower's ability to repay the bills or the loan on time without problem.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Sheikh Mahdi bin Sheikh Faisal and my matric number is 054322. So I'm gonna explain about the repayment of the loan. What is repayment? Repayment is the act of paying back money previously borrowed from a lender. Typically, the return of funds happen through periodic payments, which include both principal and interest. The principal refers to the original sum of money borrowed in a loan. Interest is the charge for the privilege of borrowing money. A borrower must pay interest for the ability to use the funds released them through the loans. Loans can usually also be fully paid in a lump sum at any time. Lump sum contract may include an yearly repayment fee. Common types of loans that many people need to repay include auto loans, mortgage, education loans, and credit card charge. Businesses also enter into debt agreement, which can also include auto loans, mortgage, and lines of credit, along with bond issuance and other types of structures corporate debt. Failure to keep up with any debt repayment can lead to a trail of credit issue, including force of bankruptcy, increased charge from late payment, and negative change to a credit rating. How repayment works? When consumer take out loans and the expectation by the lender is that they will ultimately be able to repay them, interest rates are changed based on the contracted rate and schedule for the times of the past between a loan was given out and when the borrower returns the money in full. Interest is usually expressed as annual percentage rate APR. Some borrowers who cannot repay loans may turn to bankruptcy protection. However, borrowers should explore every alternative before declaring bankruptcy. Bankruptcy can affect a borrower's ability to obtain financing in the future, which is in bracket. Alternatives to bankruptcy are earning additional income, refinancing, obtaining support through assistance programs, and negotiating with creditors. The structures of some repayment schedule may depend on the types of loan taken out and the lending institution. The small print on most loan applications will specify what the borrower should do if they are unable to make a scheduled payment. It is the best to proactive and reach out to the lenders to explain any existing circumstance. Let the lender know of any setbacks, such as health events and employment problems, which may affect the ability to pay. In these cases, some lenders may offer special terms for hardship. There are many types of repayment, which is the first point is federal student loans. Federal student loans generally allow for a lower payments amount, postpone payment, and in some cases, loan of forgiveness. These types of loans provide repayment flexibility and access to various student loan refinancing options as the recipient life changes. This flexibility can especially helpful if the recipient faces a health or financial crisis. Standard payments are the best option. Standards means regular payments, which is at the same monthly amount until the loan plus interest is paid off. With regular payments, satisfying the debts happen in the least amount of times. Also, as an added benefits, accrues the least amount of interest. For most federal student loans, this means a 10 years period of payment. The second type of repayment loan is home mortgage. Homeowners have multiple options to avoid foreclosure due to the declined mortgage repayment. A borrower with an adjustable rate mortgage (ARM) may attempt refinancing to fix a rate of mortgage with a lower interest rate. If the problem with payment is temporary, the borrower may pay the loan servicer the past due amount plus late fees and penalties by a set date for reinstatement. If a mortgage goes into a forbearance, payments are reduced or suspended for a set time. Regular payment then resume along with a lump sum payment or additional partial payments for a set time until the loan is current. Next is the special considerations. These types have 2 points. which is forbearance and consolidations. Some debt may receive forbearance, which allow loans and recipients who miss payment to recover and restart repayments. Also, various settlement options are available for recipients who are unemployed or who are not earning enough income to meet their repayment obligation. Once again, it is the best to be proactive with the lender and inform them of life events that impact your ability to satisfy the loans. For recipients with multiple federal student loans or thus individual with several credit cards or other loans, consolidation may be another option. Loan consolidation combines the separate debts into one loan with a fixed interest rate and single monthly payment. Borrower may be given a more extended repayment period with a reduced numbers of monthly payments. A final alternative to consolidation is a debt relief, an opportunity to have a company negotiate a lower repayment amount on your behalf.
Hi, my name is FUKAIHAH binti ROZALI. My matric number is 052924. So I will explain about Aitab documentation process. There are two contracts undertaken separately under Aitab, which is Ijarah mean hire contract and buy mean sale contract. Ijarah executed at the point of hirer applying financing and buy executed either upon early settlement or maturity of the HPI or Aitab agreement. The first contract is Ijarah contract or contract of lease. The first one is bank purchase the car from the dealer. Car dealer sells the vehicle ordered by the customer to the bank. So, the bank pays the dealer the full value of the vehicle. As a result, the bank acquires ownership of the vehicle. And then, the customer pays the deposit payment, which 10% of the full amount of the vehicle to the dealer. For example, if the car amounts 100,000, the customer only pay 10,000 as a deposit. When the customers agree to pay the road tax and insurance, and despite the fact that the bank owns the vehicle, it is registered in the customer's name. Car dealer delivers the vehicle to customers. This done once the bank has approved the customer's application for the purpose of leasing the vehicle. This is how a car ijarah contract being done. We move to the second contract, which is buy contract or contract of sale. Owner hires the car to the customer, so the customer becomes the hirer. The hirer, which is the customer, is now responsible to pay the rental or installment to the bank with the agreed amount until the payment full paid either during the contract or end of the contract. This is due to financing the customer has obtained, which 19% from the bank. At the end of the period, the bank and the customer would sign the sale and purchase agreement. That's all how the Aitab documentation process in purchase a car.